Hello everyone, thanks for tuning in to today's third video doing GavsWeatherVids Sunday Round-Up. For today's third video, so as always on Sunday, got your eclectic mix of this map. We're going to be looking at things like sea surface temperature, anomalies, solar activity, QBO, the AO, the NAO, and a lot more as well as the weather next week to 10 days and beyond. So sit back, relax and enjoy. And I shall talk you through this week's Sunday Round-Up in a second. Just say that the first video released today was our 7 AM broadcast. We also released the autumn update as well. That's the 8th autumn update. So have a look at that if you have not yet done so. It can be live streaming from 6 PM. It's a Sunday live stream, so I'm going to show you some live stream, and that will be coming up from 6 PM this evening. Please like, share, subscribe on all of the videos. Thank you so much, everybody. We have not got many more Sunday roundups to go, so we are coming towards the end of the Sunday roundups for this year. Just got 3 more to do, and then we'll be putting them on back burner because we're doing winter updates and things that look at in the Sunday roundup are the same things that we look at in the winter update, so just be repeating ourselves. So 3 more Sunday roundups to go after this one, and then we're done with them until next year. Wow. Right, so let's turn off webcam then, and we'll start off with solar activities. So this is how the solar disk is looking on our side of the disk today from solarham.net. We have got a spotless solar disk, no visible sunspots at all on the solar disk today, and so therefore solar activity is at very low levels and is expected to remain at very low levels for the next 3 days at least. Now, Rich asked me to share this. This has been taken by an astronomer, and I'm going to try and get the name right, but I'll get it completely wrong, I'm sure. Sumideep Mukherjee, I think that is. Sumideep Mukherjee. I'm almost certainly got that wrong. But anyway, thank you so much to that person who's taken this image, and to Rich for sharing this. So this is showing every sunspot from Christmas Day 2020 to July 2021. So this is like for the first 18 months of solar cycle 25, I suppose, for every single sunspot. And you can see that's 6 months worth of sunspots, isn't it, what I'm talking about? You can see that the sunspots are clustered either 25 degrees north or 25 degrees south of the equator, and that is where you get the sunspots in the early part of the solar cycle. And then gradually, as the solar cycle develops and matures, you'll find those sunspots going, further northwards and southwards towards the polar region. But at the start of the solar cycle, the sunspots will tend to be clustered very close to the equator of the sun, and that's all of the sunspots that we had, or we have had, over the 6 months from Christmas Day 2020 to July 2021. Absolutely incredible image, and thank you so much to Rich for pointing that out, and also to Sumideep, I think that is, for taking that amazing capture. Incredible. Right, who am I today? Let's have a look then. So, I am Gav Cruz today. What do you think, Mrs. P?
In your dreams.
In my dreams. Okay, no, I've not really got the look of Tom, have I? But thank you anyway, Rich, for turning me into Maverick. Mr. Cruz. Right, so, spotless days and current spotless stretch. The current spotless stretch is actually 2 days, so we have got a spotless stretch for spotlessness on the solar disk. So, for 2021 so far, we've had 53 days without sunspots. That's 24% of the year. So that compares to 2020, which had 208 days without sunspots. That was 57% of the year. And 2019, which had 281 days without sunspots, which was 77% of the year. So we are well into the second year of solar cycle number 25. But last time we was like the second year of the solar cycle was 2010, in solar cycle 24. That had 51 days total without sunspots, which was that was 14% of the year of 2010. So interestingly, 2021 has had more days without sunspots already, and we're only up to August, than 2010 did. So again, that just gives you the idea. I think this is probably a slightly slower start to solar cycle 24 solar cycle 25 compared to solar cycle 24. Possibly a slightly slower start, certainly for this second year. So I think definitely the percentage for 2021 will be greater, the spotless percentage will be greater in 2021 compared to 2010, which is quite interesting and may signal that, if anything, solar cycle 25 might be a little bit weaker, actually, than solar cycle 24. So it'll be interesting how that plays out. We'll keep a very, very close eye on those number of spotless days and the spotless stretch as we go through the rest of the year. Thank you so much to Rich for the data and for turning me into Mr. Cruz, and also for pointing out that incredible capture of the sunspots. Right, so let's deal with the oceans then. So this is how the oceans were going in last week's Sunday Roundup. This was on the 30th of July. We have 3 areas of interest. I've got 4 actually. We've got the Indian Ocean just here. I will not be focusing particularly on the Indian Ocean, the IOD Indian Ocean Dipole in the Sunday Rounders, but we will start looking at that in the winter update. So in case anyone was wondering, we did look at the Indian Ocean in last year's winter updates, and we will continue to look at the Indian Ocean Dipole in this year's winter updates as well. But for the time being, we've got our 3 areas of interest. So we've got the ENSO region just here, we've got the Northern Pacific over there, and we've got the North Atlantic over here. So that's how the oceans were looking when we did last week's Sunday Roundup. This is the very latest. So you can see for the ENSO region, again, not much change there. Let's deal with that first of all. Not much change in the ENSO region. We have got the signature of La Nina here in the central part of the equatorial Pacific Ocean. It's re-emerging, it's re-developing. I'm not sure it's strengthened all that much over the past week, so I think just, stay quite stable. In the far eastern part of the equatorial Pacific Ocean there, we don't have any particularly cold average sea surface temperature, so it is more central base, this switch to La Nina. South of the equatorial Pacific Ocean, we have got this cold average sea surface temperature anomalies gathering just here, back to the coast of Chile now. That can sometimes be a signal for La Nina. So it looks like La Nina is re-emerging, certainly in the central part of the equatorial Pacific Ocean. Further northwards in the northern Pacific, again, that's how things looked last week. This is how things look this week. Very little change there. It remains significantly warmer than average throughout this northern part of the Pacific Ocean, and particularly so in this northeastern corner. And then in the North Atlantic, we have a very warm North Atlantic at the moment. So again, that's where we're focusing on right now. If we go back to last week, that's how things looked last week in the Atlantic. It's how things look this week. Very little change there. So it's significantly warmer than average from like Newfoundland and Greenland towards Iceland. It's a little bit cooler here around the southern coast of Spain and down towards the Canary Islands. And then it's quite warm through here in the tropical part of the Atlantic Ocean. The Gulf of Mexico and the Caribbean also looking pretty warm. In preparation for the winter updates, I'd like to have a look at, past years of ocean data. And so I did that the other evening. And I noticed, let me know in the comments everyone what you think. I noticed that there appears to be a similarity this year in the Atlantic. Remember, we're focusing on the Atlantic, not the Pacific. In the Atlantic, there seems to be quite a close similarity this year to the same point in August 2010. So again, this is how things looking on the 5th of August 2010. You can see very warm again from Newfoundland with both sea surface temperatures up towards Greenland and Iceland, cooler like close to Spain and going down towards the Canary Islands, and then warm through the tropical Atlantic. So that's 2010. This is this year. I think there's quite a similarity there between August 2010 and August 2021. So that's 2021. This is the very latest. That's 2010. I think there's quite a similarity there. There are a few subtle differences. You'll never get a like-for-like perfect match. So it's a bit warmer here, like to the west of Greenland, and I think the tropical Atlantic was a little bit warmer in 2010 as well. But overall, I think the areas of warm and where it's a bit cooler, how they're balanced out, I think that is very, very similar this year to 2010. It might be one of the reasons that's explained why the pattern this August has deteriorated, because remember, August 2010 was quite a cool wet month, actually, after a warm earlier part of the summer. I think this summer has played out quite similar to 2010 so far. But anyway, let me know in the comments what you think about that, everybody. Just something that I noticed when I was going through some sea surface temperature anomaly data, beginning to think about winter updates and whatnot. In the Pacific, it's very different, though. In the Pacific, it was much cooler or colder in 2010. Here, classic negative PDO signature. La Nina was much stronger as well in 2010. Just generally a lot colder in the Pacific Ocean compared to this year. So the Pacific is set up significantly different, but I think the Atlantic does have quite a similarity. But let me know in the comments what you think. Summer Oscillation Index is looking like this. So the SOI is just measuring air pressure. It's not driving anything in its own terms. It's just telling us what the atmosphere is doing. It's measuring air pressure between Darwin and Tahiti. When the SOI is negative, the atmospheric setup will be reflective of El Nino. When the SOI is positive, the atmospheric setup will be reflective of La Nina. So at the moment, we are actually getting a few negative days for the SOI, actually. So like back at the end of July, we had sort of quite positive SOI numbers. So these are the two columns here for Tahiti and also for Darwin, and miss our overall SOI number. So on the 26th of July, for example, we're at plus 14.59, and on the 30th of July, we're at plus 13.11. That is the atmospheric setup being very reflective of La Nina. But more recent days have been more negative. So the 4th of August has been at minus 10. 5th of August was very negative at minus 18. And the 6th of August was very negative again at minus 18. 7th of August was negative at minus 8.86. The 8th of August, latest day, but ahead of us in Australia, of course, just minus 2.25. So for a while, over the past few days, the atmospheric setup has been more reflective of El Nino, which possibly explains why over the past week we haven't seen, much further development of the La Nina signature. But I think this is just temporary. I think, that if this was to carry on over several weeks, then we would start moving towards an El Nino probably. But I think as it is, that's just a temporary sort of switch in the atmospheric pattern, and I suspect we will go back to a La Nina type positive SOI setup before too much longer. CLSV2 continues to forecast a weak La Nina, so for rest of the year into winter. So our temperature is on the side, and the dates in month periods along the bottom of the chart. Where we are right now is somewhere around there, just on the cusp of La Nina. So remember, this is the important number, half degree below average 0.5. That is the minimum requirement to get to La Nina, going to be half a degree below average, and you've got to do that over 5 tri-monthly periods as well. So it is quite strict criteria, to have either a La Nina or an El Nino designated. But black dash line does get there. That's the ensemble mean. So as we go into the autumn, yes, we go under half a degree below average. So a weak La Nina through the second half or through the autumn, through the end of the year, and on into winter of 2021-22 before it comes back up to ENSO neutral next spring. Right, so there we go. Right, this is how things were looking in terms of Eurasian snow cover. Quite interesting, this. So, basically, nothing's happening, but we do see a few little white patches appearing here in the very, very extreme eastern part of Eurasia. So right at the very edges of Eurasia, in the very far north, there's a few little white patches of snow appearing there. But basically, I mean, that's great from the barrel to try and find something to find. Basically, we're snow-free across Eurasia at the moment. But I'm not sure we'll stay that way for too much longer. We should start to see some white areas beginning to appear within the next 3 or 4 weeks. Of course, eventually, all of this is going to fill up with snow. This whole area here will fill up with snow back to Europe when we get into the autumn. But at the moment, we're snow free. And of course, when we do winter updates, we will monitor the advance of that snow cover across Eurasia. So this is how things look in terms of Arctic sea ice. So the yellow area here on this chart, by the way, this yellow area is Arctic sea ice. So you can see there's a pretty big melt season going on. We're losing quite a lot of ice from there, and also around here, and also around there. So another pretty big melt season is taking place. Got around another month to go with this melt season. This is how Arctic sea ice extent is looking. So the grey lines there are the long-term trends. The blue line is this year, 2021. You see we are having another pretty big melt season. So if we add on some recent years, this is last year. Let's see how we compare. So actually a little bit above 2020 at this point in terms of this year's melt season. Don't get rid of that and put 2019 in. A little bit above 2019 as well. At this point, that's 2018. We're very comparable with 2018. That is 2017. Again, we're very comparable. 2017 for this year's melt season. We're close to 2016 as well. That's 2015. We're a little bit under 2015, but not much in it. That's 2014. Again, we're a little bit under that year, but not much in it at all. Sorry, that's 2014. So we're a little bit under 2014. But again, not all that much, but we're a bit under there. That's 2013. Again, slightly under 2013. And this is 2012, which of course is the record minimum Arctic sea ice extent year. And we are on a par with 2012. So we wait to see, we wait to see where things are going to go this year's melt season. Got around another month to go for this year's Arctic sea ice melt season. So will we beat 2012? Will we get a new record, or will we pull up short of 2012 again? So 10-2 over the past few years. It'll be interesting to see, and of course we'll be monitoring that at the start of our winter updates. Right, the QBO number is in for July. So this is from NAO. This is showing every month's worth of QBO back to 1950s. Remember, the negative numbers are the easterly QBO, and the positive numbers are the westerly QBO phases. The QBO oscillates between westerly and easterly QBO phase over like 18-month to 2-year periods, and it is basically a reflection, as with so many of these indexes, a reflection of the atmospheric state. This one is kind of reflecting the strength of the zone of westerlies. So you're in a westerly QBO, you strengthen the zone of westerlies. When you're in an easterly QBO, you weaken the zone of westerlies. So if you're in an easterly QBO, you have a greater chance of blocking in the winter across northern Europe, because the westerlies, the zonal flow is weakened, so you have a greater chance of blocking and colder weather. No guarantee, though. There are many easterly QBO winters that have been mild, and there are some westerly QBO winters that have been cold, actually. But nevertheless, we are in now a proper easterly QBO phase. So this is 2021 just here. You see about we begin the year actually with a westerly QBO. These positive numbers through the first 3 months of the year. We see a switch beginning to take place in the spring. So a reduction of those positive numbers, and into the summer a very rapid switch takes place to the easterly QBO. So last month, or I should say month before last, in June, we went down to minus 6.93, proper easterly QBO number, and July sees an absolute plummet in the easterly QBO down to minus 13.17. So we are now actually in quite a strong easterly QBO phase. It's happened very quickly, but it's been a very rapid switch from a strong westerly QBO phase at the start of the year into now, by the middle of the summer, into a strong easterly QBO phase. You remember that last year the easterly QBO failed but never went away entirely from the stratosphere. It has descended very quickly from the stratosphere into the troposphere, and this rapid switch has probably taken place as a result, of the failure of the easterly QBO that we had last year. But anyway, we are in a strong easterly QBO phase now, and that is likely to continue through the remainder of the year, and the winter of 2021-2022 will be a strong easterly QBO winter. This is from NASA, so this is showing how the easterly QBO is descending into the troposphere, or has descended into the troposphere. So we basically have to think that these are the layers of the atmosphere just here. This is the stratosphere at the very top. This is the boundary level of the atmosphere that we call the troposphere, where it takes place, 30 to 50 HPA. And you can see from this blue-green area here how that has moved down, strengthened, and moved down into the troposphere from the stratosphere over the past few months. Different to what happened last year when it didn't descend from the strat to the trop properly, and so we had that failure of the ECQBO last year, and the West EQBO actually strengthened at the end of last year and into last winter. But not the case this year. The ECQBO has properly descended and moved from the stratosphere into the troposphere. No two ways about it. We are now in a proper ECQBO phase, and we will remain in the ECQBO through the rest of the year, and winter 2021-2022 will be an easterly QBO winter. Okay, let's have a look next at the Arctic and North Atlantic oscillations, shall we? So there we go. We're going to see what that is doing. So, black line shows where we've been with the Arctic oscillation. Red lines and with GFS ensembles are forecasting the Arctic oscillation to go. Through most of the summer, actually, the AO has been in a positive phase. That tells us we have low pressure over the Arctic. At the moment, we're sort of in a more neutral phase, though, with the AO. And the GFS ensembles are forecasting that the Arctic oscillation is likely to stay close to neutral phase over next week, possibly going a bit more positive around the middle part of August. But at the moment, nothing overly dramatic happening in terms of the Arctic. So yeah, we aren't really seeing a particularly strong signal for blocking from an AO perspective. The NAO, though, is doing something quite dramatic. So at the moment, the NAO is like in a very positive phase, but the GFS ensembles are forecasting a bit of a crash, actually, in the NAO as we go into the middle of August and going into quite a strong sort of negative type phase. So that looks a little bit strange, doesn't it, how that is dramatically dropping from like quite a strong positive NAO into what could be quite a strong negative NAO. And it's a bit at odds with what's going on in the Arctic. So we may finish it up with like the AO in a weekly positive phase and the NAO in a strongly negative phase by the middle of August, which would be a little bit odd and a little bit unusual. So in the summer, if you're in a positive NAO, with a positive AO, you will tend to strengthen the Azores high, and that would be a signal for warmer weather and dry weather. That's sort of the situation that we've got now with the NAO. But if you go negative in the summer with the NAO particularly, it could be a sign for like cooler and wetter conditions. So we'll wait and see what's happening there. It does look a bit odd. Right, so let's do some forecasting then before we go. So these are the GFS upper air temperature and precipitation ensembles. Looking at Wolverhampton today. Red line is a 30-year upper air temperature average. So we're cooler than average at the moment. We've got below average temperatures right now. We're going to see those temperatures lifting up towards the middle and second half of this week, but only temporarily. But there is a bit of a warm-up going on there towards the end of this week, and then we cool down again into next weekend. And through the following week, like through the second half of August now, generally looking average to a bit on the cool side, but there continues to be loads of scatter. So we've got these warmer ensemble members up here, which again does include the GFS operational midnight run, which I'll show you in a moment. Got these cooler ensemble members down there. So the uncertainty about the second half of August goes on. Precipitation-wise, going to be further rainfall showers along spells of rain over the next 2 or 3 days. Then we get a drier interlude midweek into the second half of the week as the upper air temperatures lift up a little bit. And then back comes the precipitation again, perhaps next weekend, and on into the third week of the month. Temperature anomalies from the 8th to the 16th of August, very close to average. Precipitation anomalies from the 8th to 16th of August, wetter than average for Scotland, drier than average for England, Wales and Ireland. The latest wind flow map from earthnullschool.net shows that low pressure is in control. The low is centred now over Scotland, and in come those westerly winds. This is how the latest UK Met Office is looking at the weather outlook. So here's that little ridge that's going to bring us a slightly warmer, drier interval midweek. That's building up from the southwest on Wednesday. Still around on Thursday, but starting to weaken a little bit. By Friday, low pressure starts to come back in off the Atlantic, although for southern areas it probably stays relatively dry, actually. But the north will turn more unsettled at the end of the week and into the weekend. That's how the GFS midnight run is looking for Wednesday. Again, we've got this ridge building up from the southwest. That's on Wednesday. That's still there on Thursday, but it weakens through Friday and on into Saturday. In comes this low that will bring quite a bit of rain to the north, maybe reasonably dry down in the south. It'll turn things cooler with those northwesterly winds across the country next weekend. This weekend does look rather cooler and showery. And then into more extended range, the midnight GFS run builds this ridge out to the west and sends the ridge into the UK. That probably brings a lot of quiet weather and should be reasonably pleasant, not particularly hot because we're on the cool side of the ridge, but it should be reasonably pleasant with the temperatures maybe low to mid-20s. Celsius. Eventually, we finish up with high pressure moving eastwards. That starts to pull up some warmth from the south and from the southeast. And we finish up looking like that, trying to bring low pressure back in off the Atlantic Ocean once again. And this is how BGM is looking. So once more, we have this ridge building up from the southwest on Wednesday, which gives us a rather quieter midweek period. Then in comes the low in the second half of the week or at the end of the week, about bring further rain, particularly so to more northern areas. Next weekend and into the following week, high pressure begins to build through the country. That settles things down, turns things drier and potentially quite warm there. That ridge of high pressure sitting over the country by day 10, which is the 18th of August. And then the ECM looks like that. So again, same idea, but we have a drier, warmer interlude midweek, and then it turns a bit more unsettled, especially for the north at the end of the week and into next weekend. And then on into the following week and up to day 10, quite a bit of high pressure ridging through, and actually the ECM does look very warm around days 8, 9 and 10. So possibly today's model output has shifted a little bit towards a rather warmer period into the second half of August. But again, these runs are changing a lot run by run, so I think we need to stay cautious about this. Wait and see where it's going. But they do look a little bit more settled, warmer, drier for the second half of August than they did yesterday. Now, we can't show you the options on the table within the ECM ensembles day 10 for this video because they're not updated yet. We'll show you those in the live stream. And we also can't show you the CFS week clears, again, because they haven't updated yet. We'll show you those in the live stream too. So the last thing we're going to finish with for this Sunday roundup will be the CFS V2 700 millibar height anomaly forecast for September. This is how it's looking. These are changing a lot day by day as well, which is quite unusual. So a couple of days ago, the CFS was indicating like northern blocking for September with 700 millibar height anomaly and high pressure dominating across northern Europe and the North Atlantic. Now, it's going for like low pressure around Greenland and into the north of Scotland and higher pressure in the middle of the Atlantic. So looking rather cool and a little bit changeable for September on this particular update. As I always say, September is a very, very uncertain month. It's probably the most uncertain month of all because it is dominated in our part of the world by tropical developments, in the tropical Atlantic in terms of storms and hurricanes. And so it's always an uncertain month, September, along with May, but for different reasons in May. So it's always the hardest month to forecast for. CFS is clearly struggling a lot and changing day by day with its forecast for September. Today, it's looking rather cooler and rather changeable. The temperature anomaly has no particular signal, and the precipitation anomaly has no particular signal either. But based on the 700 millibar height anomaly, that anomaly, you would expect a rather cool and showery type month, probably. But I suspect when it updates again later today or tomorrow, it will look completely different, probably. Right, if you enjoyed Sunday Roundup, please go and smash the like button. Make sure to subscribe to our channel. Thank you so much, everybody, for doing that for GavsWeatherVids. Tell your friends and family to subscribe as well. It's amazing and it's incredible. So thank you for doing this for us. And drop a comment and let us know what you think about this and all of our videos. We hit 11.7k subscribers yesterday, unbelievably. So we're now on the way to 11.8k subscribers. And of course, the ultimate target at the moment is 12k. So thank you so much, everybody, for all of the support. Right, I shall see you later on for our Sunday evening live stream. But for today's Sunday Roundup, that's all for now, and thanks for watching.